This model I'm about to share with you just explains why it's never too late to have a happy childhood. Okay? It also explains how we can take charge of our emotions, take charge of our body, change our behaviours, our actions and behaviours, how we behave, and habits, and change anything in our life situation without having to change all that stuff, but just change one thing. And that's what makes me so excited about sharing this with you, because that was like, oh my goodness, we don't need to run around and try and change all that stuff. We can change one thing and it automatically changes everything else. And that really excites me. So, let me describe this model to you. So every moment we have external events happening, and we are gathering information about these external events through our five senses. Our eyes, our ears, our skin, basically our nervous system is gathering that information. And our brain is processing it and creating an internal version of what's just happened. So at the point at which it hits our nervous system, it's raw data. It has no meaning yet. Let's say we're having a conversation with our partner, okay, and they're saying stuff. So we're talking to them, and we're taking that information in, we're attaching meaning to the words, we're filtering it based on the context of our past experiences with that person, and then we're creating an internal version of what's happening. Yeah? That internal version is not what's actually happened. Right? It's our version of what's just happened based upon our internal filters, of which we have quite a few. This is all taken care of by the unconscious mind, guys, by the way. You're not doing this consciously, but I'm trying to explain to you how we attach meaning to stuff. Because bear in mind, whether something's a problem or not is determined entirely by whether the meaning we've attached to it. Does that make sense? Because one thing can be a problem for one person, someone can be made redundant and fall into depression and whatever, and another person can be made redundant, exact same circumstances, exact same bank balance, exact same family situation, and go, fantastic, made redundant, new opportunity, let's go for it, and end up being a really successful entrepreneur. What's the difference between these two persons? Same events, different meaning attached to it based upon their internal filters. Make sense, guys? Yeah. Aho! 3 months holiday, paid. So, we have an external event coming in, it gets filtered, the raw data gets filtered where meaning is attached. So meaning is attached here. Or the meaning is made. Okay? And that creates our internal version. Another example, classic example, has anyone here ever been to the cinema and you've been with a friend and you really liked it and they didn't, or vice versa? That's so cool, isn't it? Because the exact same light was projected from the projector onto the white screen and then hit the back of your eye, but the two of you had a completely different experience of the movie. Yeah? One person can be like, oh, that was so romantic, they got together at the end. The other person's like, oh my god, it was so cliche, they got together at the end, yeah? She should have died or something, you know? No, but the same movie, but different experiences of it based upon their filters, their values, their beliefs, and so on and so forth. Okay, guys? It's so important recognizing this. Why? Because it's a vastly edited version between what we're gathering and what we're actually consciously aware of. Very edited. Very, very, very edited. In fact, when I first started doing this, the research suggested that it was like we could take in and process 2 million bits of information per second and filter that down to about 134. More recently, a year and a half ago, it was published that it was more like 400 billion bits of information per second, filtered down to about 2,000 bits of information. That's incredible, if you think about it. Now, irrespective of the research, what is very clear is the big difference between what we're taking in and what we're consciously aware of. Okay? And that means a lot, because someone got a belief, for example, oh, there's no opportunities, there's no jobs. Then they will create a reality for themselves because they're going to filter the jobs out. Because these filters determine what our internal version is. These filters include the language that we use, our beliefs, our values, our past decisions, our memories, and significant emotional events, and a few others. So unconsciously, our unconscious mind is taking the same part of your mind that's digesting your breakfast and beating your heart right now. That part of your mind that you don't think about what it's doing is taking that information in and filtering it based upon the language that you use. You know, if someone speaks Spanish and English, I've spoken to them a lot, and they often say that their world feels differently when they speak the different language. It's quite cool, isn't it? Our beliefs are one of the main filters. So, what's our beliefs? So, beliefs are thoughts that have emotional fuel to them, evidence as well, and they usually start: I can't, I won't, I'll never, I always feel. That's the negative beliefs, obviously, I'm talking about. People are, the world is, I'm the sort of person who, yeah? These are sorts of, there's the beginnings of sentences, alright? How you end these sentences determines your experience of life, by the way, but we'll come on to that in a minute. So these filters are all taken care of. They then combine with your physiology to create your state. When we talked about earlier about the emotions, emotional state. So, our internal version combines with our physiology to create our state. These all combine and go out into the real world again, this is outside, to drive our behaviours or our response to what we've just experienced. To either be defensive or to be all embracing or whatever. Yeah? That makes sense so far? I hope. Then, what would you say the accumulation of all your actions and behaviours are? Everything you've done in your life, where's it taking us to? Where we are right now, exactly. So, our behaviours all add up to our life situation today. Our relationships, our finances, our career, our hobbies, what our house looks like, and all of that sort of stuff is the result of our behaviours up until now. Our actions and non-actions. Is that clear? Cool. And then our behaviours are dictated by the combination of our internal version, physiology, and state. By the way, just for physiology, I forgot to mention that. The physiology is basically how you use your body. Okay. So for example, your posture, how you hold your chest, your breathing, your muscle tension, your facial expressions, where your eye patterns and where your eyes are, and so on and so forth. So for me, if I was to stand up here and go, right guys, I'm going to talk to you today about how to be confident and happy, then my physiology may not be reflecting my message, okay? But thankfully, I learned this a couple of years ago, or a few years ago now, so it's like, hey, hi, how you doing? But it actually feels different, and it becomes a habit very easily and quickly, and suddenly you find yourself having the state that you want without even trying, because you're just holding your body in a way that enables you to have that state. Because your physiology matters. The body affects the mind, and the mind affects the body. It's a two-way street, and both impact how you're feeling. You know, if you wanted to make me depressed, that you put me in a chair and you'd probably flop my head down, and what else would you do? Make my breathing shallow and make my face go long, and yeah, we could all get depressed right now if we wanted to. Do you know what I mean? Because we know the physiology of a depressed person. In the same way, we also know the physiology of someone who's about to learn the very thing that's going to change their life forever. Yeah? Okay. So we've got the physiology, we've got the internal version, that combines with state. So if we want to change our life situation, if we want to change our behaviours, if we want to change our physiology, we want to change how we feel or what's going on between our ears, maybe we don't need to try and change all that. Maybe we just need to track back to the source of it all. Because what is the thing that's impacting them all? Yeah. And which of the filters would you say is the most important? Beliefs? Absolutely, because the beliefs are the most important ones, because the beliefs basically fuel all the rest. Yeah? Okay, the series of emotional events usually create the beliefs, and the memories of the way we remember something is determined by our beliefs. Our values are, it's another word for our belief. It's something we believe is important. It's just another word for our beliefs. So ultimately it boils down to our beliefs every time when it comes to, if we're going to change any of that, we need to change this. Okay? Thankfully, that's what the Mind Detox method does. That's all it does. It's focused entirely on helping someone to discover the beliefs that aren't working for them and change them. Okay?